Hi, this is Zach here with the weekend edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Sunday, the 12th of November. Starting off with the FTSE 100, where it's the sinking feeling again. We've actually supposed to have the sinking feeling all the year with the same sell into strength within that falling trend channel from February. Current position is that we close below the initial September support, 73.70 on the week, which is not great. We've got a line of support there around 7300 from back in March, an uptrend line actually shown in red. Below that, then we're looking at a nightmare scenario down to 71.40. Maybe by the end of this month. Otherwise, the rescue here would be to get back above 73.70 on an end of day close basis and head up to the 50-day line at 75.13. But at the moment, as I said, with the 50 and 200-day lines also falling, a double failure at RSI 50 this month, the situation is not looking pretty. If we manage to hold above 7300, that will be quite an achievement. Moving on to the DAX, and here the better performance than the FTSE, still trying to get through that 50-day line there from, well, I suppose on the sort of the fourth or fifth time now we've failed there since August. I suppose there is also a line of resistance, an extra line of resistance, apart from the falling trend channel from back in May, which is holding this market back, which I will try and draw in a second. You can see that they're around the highs of last week, so let's say 15,300. End of day close through that level required now to get us back up to the October resistance around 15,500 and up to the top of that May falling trend channel at 15,800. On the downside, hopefully support will come in at or above the floor of the gap there from the beginning of the month around 14,900. RSI still on the right side of 50, although obviously not looking great itself. Moving along to the Dow, and here you can see that we've just actually broken that line of resistance there from back in July. That was around 34,100 to end the week. Managed to find support above the 50 and 200-day moving averages as well, around 33,800, and that leaves us looking for 35,000 by the end of this month, which is what we've been looking at all along after the bear trap and double gap higher reversal that we've had for the start of November, and bullish divergence as well after the lower October support. So in some ways the Dow looking the best of the bunch and looking in fine form as well. Let's see if that continues. Moving on to Bitcoin, which has been delighting crypto fans. It looks like it's the end of the nuclear winter that we've had for the last or the past, September or the summer of 2022, the summer of 2023. We've had a good bull flag breakout there through 35,000. Above that, we've been looking for 43,000 by the end of this month, which is a trend line projection from the autumn of last year. As I said, by the end of this month, hopefully up to 43,000, while we're above 35,000. Lowest at the moment, hopefully no lower than late October support at 34,000. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Audioboom, which had a rather mixed end to the week, but interestingly enough, we had looks like a sort of a bear failure. We had one of those earlier last week where the shares tried to head down to the 50-day line, but then bounced back by the end of the day. Same thing on Friday as well. So if you look at the pattern there, the following day we had a decent up day, and while the shares were above the floor of the gap, the latest gap at 192, we're looking for them to head up to 260. Hopefully by the end of this month. The failed gap fill on Friday, a very bullish signal as well. Moving on to Blue Star, which seems to be feeling the benefit of the aforementioned Bitcoin crypto rebound. Nice up day in the middle of the week, and the shares holding 3/4 of the gains, which on Thursday and Friday, which is a very strong signal. Above 0.11, looking for a minimum of 0.14, and then up to as high as 0.24 as soon as the end of this year. That's a punchy call, but with bullish divergence and the wedge breaks that we've seen, then this is looking like a decent situation. Moving on to a stock which I know has its fans, and here we have the artificial meat company, BSF. Here it looks as though we're bouncing off the floor of that broadening triangle from back in May. Obviously, it's early days yet, especially as we haven't completely broken the neckline resistance around the 9 pence level, or the 50-day line at 9.5 pence. Maybe if you're cautious, wait for the 50-day line to break before assuming that we'll head to the top of the triangle there at 15 pence, hopefully by the end of next month. Moving along to Coinsilium, which I haven't looked at for years, and you'll probably see why from the chart. Just the hint that the shares are feeling the benefit of the end of the crypto winter. Looks like we've got a rising trend channel base there, based around the 1.25 pence area. Above that, looking for 2.3 pence. Maybe as soon as the end of this month, we get a decent tailwind from the improvement in the digital asset space. Moving on to global petroleum, and here we have a situation where shares are looking a little bit more perking up, rather, compared to the recent past. Here you can see that we've got this potential bull flag breakout. We're sort of 3 or 4 days in that consolidation at and above 0.07. Above that, looking for the shares to fill the gap up to 0.11 and maybe head back to 0.13 by the end of next month. But the key here is holding 007 on that situation. Stock that rose sharply on Friday with no news was GSTechnologies, and here you can see that the shares rather overshot the runway in terms of our previous target. They're around 1.1 pence, but it's still the case that above 1.1 pence on an end-of-day close basis, we're looking for another retest of April resistance around the 1.8 pence level. That could happen by the end of this month. Haven't looked at Hemogenics for a while, so maybe worth having a look now. Here you can see that we've got this U-shaped or V-shaped turnaround, basically finding support at the floor of the old September gap there at 1.9 pence, about 1.9, looking for 3 pence as soon as the end of this month or even sooner. On to Marula, which has been a decent situation over the last couple of weeks, especially since I interviewed Quinten van der Berg. You can see that we've got a rising 50-day line. Just want to see the shares back above 10 pence, so they would break the 50-day moving average, and also with the RSI above neutral 50, looking for the stock now above 10 pence to head back up to the top of that broadening triangle from March, as high as 16 pence by the end of next month. The pattern here really a 2-day bear trap below the 8 pence support area, so the shares looking good on that basis. On to online blockchain, where I think it's an AI company now, but minor details. Here you can see that we've broken above the rising, the 200-day moving average there at 15 pence. Above that, we're looking for 20 pence, which was our initial target, and up to as high as 27 pence by the end of next month. Good setup there with the bear trap gap reversal, and then another gap higher at the end of last week after the sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day moving average and bullish divergence. So OBC had everything there in the mix that we like. On to Pensionbee, which I don't think I've ever covered before. And here, effectively a bear trap gap reversal with the double unfilled gaps to the upside last week. Looking for that initial target there at 75 pence, after that 85 pence at the top of the rising trend channel base in place since back in May. Ideally, we stay above that 50-day line at 67. On to Powerhouse Energy, where despite the gloom and doom, we've got a bounce off a broadening triangle there from back in June. The floor there around 0.24. Above that, we're looking for at least a test of the old support around 0.4 pence by the end of this month. The shares coming off oversold over the recent past. On to Revolution Beauty, which is a stock which has also got an unfilled gap to the upside. That was on Thursday, and we managed to break through the 50-day line at 23 pence. Now looking for as high as 38 pence by the end of next month at the top of a broadening triangle base in place since back in July. And we've also had a bullish divergence with a low for October, but higher RSI trace. On to the last three, and first one is United Oil and Gas, which has continued to defy the bulls, but we've had a bear trap rebound and a gap close buy signal for Friday, so maybe that will be enough to get the shares back up to 1.35 pence over the course of the next couple of weeks. Also bullish divergence here, so maybe not quite time to give up the ghost on UOG, given that decent setup that you can see. Velocis is next, and here we've got a picture which is potentially a rising trend channel base. Obviously, we're still trying to catch a falling knife. Initial target here up to around 0.5, best case up to 0.9 by the end of the month. But we need to see the share stay above recent neckline resistance at 0.35. Finishing up with Vinanz, which doesn't really have much of a chart, but it's worth having a look at anyway. Here the shares have managed to have a very strong end to the week with the fundraise that they had, and so maybe just watching to see how much further they can go. At this stage, probably the area of favour would be up towards the 10 pence level, given the at least the 10 pence level, given the fact that both on Thursday and Friday we opened at the low and closed at the high. So that suggests that we're not even halfway to the upside that we are potentially looking at, and we've also got a rising 50-day line. Upside here valid while we're above the 5 pence area should do the trick on an end of day close basis. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.